You know, your mama and your daddy made you. They took you home proudly from the maternity ward. Started taking pictures of you to show everybody in the family, the uncles, the aunts, the grandparents. You could do no wrong. And a good parent is like that. A good parent is going to say to themselves, I'm proud of my kid. Look at him. Second grade, spelling out those words, starting to learn how to read and write. Terrific. But the issue is, sometimes you wish there was a little something else there that doesn't come with the particular kid. He's growing up. Wouldn't it be great if when certain flaws show up, you could actually add to it? So I'll give you an example. Right outside, a lot of sunlight. 30 years later, UV light damages your eyes. What else happens? These were great function. Everybody's born with them. But when you get older, suddenly you can't see as well. Suddenly things get kind of fuzzy in focus. Maybe you're driving and things aren't so great. So wouldn't it be cool if we could add some new functionality on top that would make something good even better? Example, here's the example. Look at it. Put this on here. Suddenly, UV protection. I didn't come with it. Probably a lot of people don't need it. But wouldn't it be great if I could just add that new feature? Now, I'm protected from sunlight. You could probably even see here, it's a little bit dark, a little tint there protecting my eyes. The original version didn't come with it, but wouldn't it be cool if it did? A lot of people may not need it. Maybe some people don't go outside, but I go outside, so I think I could use it. Also, can't read quite well across the room. Heck, I can't even read the letters over here. This is kind of like fuzzy to me. So let me put that on there. Let's see. Yeah, N-E-W-P. See? It works. Give you another example. When we're born, all this can be. Hair comes in. Maybe it's going to change colors after 6 months, a year. A lot of people start as auburn, blonde. Suddenly they're brown hair. When they get older, the hair grows like crazy. Barbers aplenty. But, yeah. After some time, maybe it's not the same anymore. The perfect solution didn't come here. A lot of people may not need something else. But heck, if I go outside, like I said, UV, I may be up for a problem. Forget about how it looks. You know, what the heck is going to catch the sweat off my head when I'm playing sports? And what's going to protect me from the sunlight? Time for a new feature. New feature. And that's what we're going to talk about today with these user scripts. We're going to actually add on some completely new function that didn't quite come with the original, but if only we could layer it on top on a need-to basis, we got ourselves a winning formula. So, what's going to do it? We have an original application. We have the need to do something new, unrelated to everything that's kind of part of the original, but we have a need for something new. Second, we're going to create a user script that's going to add this little something new. Let's take a look at that. We're going to start with a really whimsical one, just for kicks. This whimsical one is going to involve birthdays. What the heck does people's birthday have to do with web apps? Well, I'll give you a hint. In this case, we're again looking at a medical record software. We have patients. We have this idea of patient engagement. We want to make sure patients are seen on a regular basis, and we certainly want to make sure that they feel welcome and remembered. And one nice thing to do is inspired by what we see as part of the original software. So we have the original, we get inspired, and we do something new with exactly that piece. Let's check it out. Here we got this person over here, Rachel. Rachel Text. You probably remember her from other times here. And we're just sort of inspired here and like, she's got a birthday. Um, wouldn't it be cool if we at least knew when she calls in that, let's make it look like we don't have a 400, 500 patient practice, that this is more intimate, that I remember you, that I know you and care about you. That is the case, but you want to make sure that they feel that. So we're going to notice when they have a birthday coming up. How do we do that? With a user script, I'm telling you, man. So here is the birthday in the corner, and there's actually, I won't bore you with it, but inside of this HTML, there's other structures that contain the actual birth date. So what we're going to do is, if the birthday is close by, up here at the top, with all of these other little alerts, we're going to provide the person who's working using the software to understand the client or the customer's or the patient's birthdays coming up in a very simple, easy way. They won't have to think about it. They don't have to look for it. We should just make it appear. And if they're on the phone, quick 2-minute call, they're going to see it. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to show you some code. This is what part of a user script could look like. Check it out. Here we are. Here we are, my friends, inside the user script. So we create a function here called birthdays nearby, and we're just going to arbitrarily pick a number of days in terms of proximity. And then this wonderful birthdays nearby, we're going to hit it up with the actual birth date as we see that we've pulled out of that exact place inside of the actual application, which you saw back over here, right? And then we're gonna basically, if it's there and it's nearby, we're just gonna throw up this info alert. And the info alert's gonna say, hey, your birthday's coming. This is the name of the birthday. Put a couple of cool emojis, and that's it. It's a little whimsical, but we can see it in action here easily enough. Now, Rachel's birthday isn't really right now, but we'll have to doctor it for the sake of this exciting presentation here, right? So here we are. Let's go down into her demographics here. And let's say, for all intents and purposes, that, right today, I'll give you a hint here. It's the 1st of August. Let's say she's coming in shortly. We talked to her on the phone, and her birthday's actually at the end of this week. So let me save that in there. Let's pretend it is that date. And sure enough, this will show up right at the top here. Right, when we go ahead and save it, hold on. Let's put it here. All right, now we got her. So here's her birthday, and now look what we got here at the top. Easy as pie, a simple new feature. Now it seems kind of whimsical, like I said, but it is important to let the person know. A lot of our patients have been into practice a long time, and you get 20, 30, 40 calls a day, and another 20 patients in there. Very hard to keep track of all this stuff. But as you can see, this is a nice little thing here saying, hey, patient's birthday's coming up. The birthday month is here. So when I'm on the phone with them, I'm going to wish Rachel a happy birthday. Hey, you got a nice birthday coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. And that's it. Very simple new feature. Is everyone going to want this feature? No, probably not, but we did. So very easy to do. Slap that baby in there with the user script. What's another one that we can work on here? This one's going to be a little bit less whimsical, so I'm going to make my feature look a little bit more distinguished here with this bucket hat. So this one is going to involve insurances. And every practice accepts certain insurances, and there's certain ones that they don't. So you can imagine if I'm a prospective new patient calling in, hi, I've got, Oscar insurance and want to join. And if the new person who's working at the front starts filling in the information, it would be great to know. It makes a lot of sense that if the doctor himself doesn't participate, you got to let the patient know right away. What's the worst case scenario that's going to happen? You're going to accept that patient. They're going to come in. You thought that they were participating with your doctor. Now, so do they. They know they don't owe a copay. They know they certainly don't owe out of pocket. But it turns out later, like after the exam, you find out actually we don't accept Oscar. As good as it is, that insurance, we don't accept it. Too bad. You just had a $150 procedure and another $600 of laboratory tests that we thought your insurance was going to pay. But guess what? We actually don't accept your insurance. So that's not going to work. So we need a feature on top of this. Let me show you a little bit of a chart here to kind of visualize what we're dealing with here. So this is a little handy thing that Google offers as a tool called a Jamboard. And here's what we're going to do. Inside of the white rounded rectangle, we're going to put in yellow features of the actual web app. Okay, and the border around it signifies kind of the end of the relationship that's inside of the web app. So we've got a display of the policies for the patient, which you kind of were able to see quickly on the quick view when I was moving around down there, but not quite right. And then we have a feature called for searching for new insurance and adding it as a policy to the patient. So these two are great, but it's not taking into account whether or not this particular medical provider accepts that. And it doesn't make any sense that's not a part of it, because if your main software for your business is supposed to do everything for you and keep you safe, we need that as a feature. It's a completely new feature, but it's not there. Tangentially, it's possible. Like if we look at this chart again, we can say, yeah, we've got these aspects over here. If only we could do something like say, is the insurance accepted? And if so, why would be great if we could, impact the search and even the display. So that's what we want to do. But in order to do that, as a user script, we need this. So the set of all insurances that the provider accepts. So I'm going to show that to you now inside of the user script. We're going to start to build it. I'm not going to show you all the details of this, but we're just going to look at a set of insurances that we know the provider accepts. And wouldn't it be great if the reception person could see visually when something is no bueno for this practice? So let me pull that up here. Let's go over to a handy list here. Let's see. Here we go. So here in Codeland, more JavaScript, we've got a map here. So a function is the payer on the accepted list, right? And we have a list mapped of accepted payers according to, this is a payer ID that's used inside of the actual web app that we're writing a user script on top of. And this is the name of the insurance. So this is the set of all insurances which are accepted by that provider. So what we're going to do with that is, wouldn't it be great, right, if we can draw a connection between this and here? So we want to do this. We want to say, is the insurance is accepted? Well, we're looking for a new one to add for a prospective patient on the phone. We want to add that. And while we're at it, we probably, whenever we do a standard display of it, we want to also ask ourselves, is the insurance accepted? So here's the web app, and here's the user script. So what the user script needs to do is simply connect these pieces together. So we're going to draw a connection here from is insurance accepted over to the set of insurances the provider accepts. And if that's the case, it's going to directly influence whether or not this displays nicely or flag that insurance as something we can't have, unfortunately. So the person who's manning the phone needs to know that really quickly. And the best way to do that is automate that. And wouldn't it be great, but it's not, if you have the insurance search and you have a display here of insurances, but we don't have this, right? Put this new feature right on top. Let's check it out. Let's see if we can actually do this. So we're going to go back to our same patient here, Tina test, right? And we're going to add an insurance policy down here for Tina. So let's pretend that Tina was calling, and what did I mention? It was, oh yeah, Oscar. Okay. So let's add Oscar insurance for this patient. Let's see what happens, right? Okay, here we go. Oscar, here we go. Oscar. Put the member's ID in here. Hit search, right? Let's see what goes on now. So maybe you saw what happened here, maybe you didn't. Take a look. The new feature was layered on top. We've got now a little legend here. It says, please avoid selecting any orange option as this is not one honored, right? Here's a hint, that's usually not there. And we've got orange here under all the Oscar ones to not add them. What do you think was the problem originally when we would do this? Very easy. Let's go ahead and select this. So we don't want to be dictatorial here, but we want to at least tell the person manning the phones that this is probably not good to add. You can still add it, but maybe you shouldn't. Let's add it anyway. Let's do it. Let's go crazy here. Let's see what happens. So let's add the Oscar HMO the doctor does not accept. And we're going to add it right into this patient's quick view. So remember what we talked about back here. We want to impact two items. We just showed this aspect, the insurance search, to add a policy for the patient. But same code should be referenced using the same predicate through a function and influence this guy here, the display of policies for the patient. So we want to make sure that happens here. So let's go ahead, you and I, and add Oscar HMO despite that. Let's do it. All right, here it is. Tina, we love you, Tina. Let's go ahead and look at your policy now. Go back to the quick view, right? I don't care. We don't care about that. All right, scroll down to the bottom. What do we see here? Terrific. So we kind of did this color coding thing. By the way, if that interests you in any way, the notion of utilizing color for alerts, it's in my opinion, it's something visceral. You can see here at the top, there's some other stuff here with color that are sort of added in when there's something wrong going on, right? So at the top, if we scroll up, we're going to see even something more. So I'll look at that right now with you. Really much at the top, we have this nice little warning that says, hey, we have a problem with this insurance, right? The doctor does not accept the insurance package ID assigned to this patient. Please consider removing it and add a new policy that's recognized. Right? So that's what we want to have happen. And the other thing that we want to do, it's what you saw at the bottom, is we want the insurances section itself, when we display it, right, what we showed here, we want to make sure that we're kind of showing by having a color here, unlike with one of the other policies, we want to show that there is an issue with that. And that's why it's showing up in a different color there. So new feature, right? Added on top of something that was already kind of nice, right? We have an insurance policy section. We have a display. We have a search feature. These are all good for most people, but maybe doesn't quite take full advantage of what's here, right? That's where you put on your old thinking hat, your new, I'm going to mix some metaphors here, your new feature. And suddenly it's very easy now, right? Can you agree, hopefully, that this is going to be quite easy for somebody who's working here to help the patient out right away and say, oof, actually, I'm looking at it right now, the new policy I added in, Mr. Test, we don't accept this. I wish we did, but we don't. So they would know either to change their insurance if it's very new to them. This really happens in the medical practice every once a year, open enrollment. You can choose a new insurance. Not everyone can do that, or you got to find a different doctor. So nice little feature laid on top. We're going to look now at another one here. This next feature is going to involve the notion of a copay. So if I open up, look, let's go back and just peek at Tina here. If I open up their policy, there's already a concept here of a copay. And inside of the software, there's already this concept of copays based on type of visit, right? What you're actually performing that day could potentially determine the copay. Well, what's the default behavior? The default behavior is it's going to just take the one that's here. So it's going to take the copay that it sees in this primary slot. But what we'd like to do is something a little more interesting. We've got all of these appointment types, which I can show you here. So we've got appointment types for hospital follow-ups, for annual wellnesses, for telemedicines, for lab type visits, right? And they don't all have the same type of copay. I'll give you two great examples. Typically with insurance, you'd owe a copay for an exam, right? So that's a regular follow-up visit. But if you came in just for laboratory work, let's say we were just drawing your blood that day, it doesn't make any sense that the same software would want to charge you that, say, $15 copay to get your blood drawn. That's a mistake. And the reception person shouldn't ask for that, but they're going to see that as part of check-in. I'll give you another example, an annual wellness visit. Those, as many of you know out there, are absolutely free. Shouldn't cost you a penny. So what we want to do is draw a connection between existing pieces, right? Existing aspects of the software and maybe bring some things together that weren't already a part of the original one and make something new here. So what we want to do, and I have a handy dandy duty little chart here for you, is we want to take what's in the domain here, which is the copay type and the amount, part of the web app, and we have appointment type also, again, with the white circle around it, part of the web app. But these two areas here don't have a connection. Let's make that connection. Let's make the connection between the two and build one of these nice features right on top. Let's do that. So let's draw this line here between the appointment type and the copay. And we want the appointment type to impact the copay amount. So the user script is going to draw this connection between different aspects of the web app and create a new feature out of it. I'm going to try now to show you a little bit of that code as well. Let's see if I can get it here. Set copay by type, right? This is what it's going to be about. So in a nutshell, there's a couple we talked about that we want to make sure we map. If the appointment is a lab type, we want to make sure to set that copay to that kind of type. And if it's a preventive visit type, we want to set the copay to that type too. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to show you an example with a patient of ours who's got an appointment today. We're going to start their check-in and we're going to see what happens under normal circumstances. All right, let's check that out. Let's go over to this patient who's got an appointment today. Rachel. She's got her appointment. We go to her, and I'll give you a clue. This lady, this nice lady, has an appointment, and it is for a right here, an annual wellness. So the annual wellness shouldn't cost her a dime, but if you notice in her policy here, she's got a copay for certain office visits of $15. I'll show it to you here. $13, right? $13 to come in for a regular office visit. But like, many of you know out there, your annual should be free. So we're going to, in our code, based on the type of visit we see, we're going to dynamically set it. But what happens here when we don't have the user script working? So when you see the red bar up here, that's when we have our plain old app without user script. So we're going to open up this appointment and scroll down to the section that involves the copay. Uh-oh. See that? It says that they owe a copay of $13. We need a new feature on top that's going to do this process of determining the correct copay based on the appointment type. And I'm going to do that here with you. Okay. Ugh. Here we are at Rachel. But this time, check out the top. The bar's not red. This black bar is where we have the user scripts loaded up. Here in the upper right-hand corner, 2 instances are running. Same scenario, we're here with Rachel. She's got an annual. When she's doing her check-in at the annual, like I'm simulating again with the user script this time, we shouldn't see that. Let's see what happens when I click on Rachel. All right. Scroll to the bottom where we were seeing the mistake of a $13 copay. And instead this time, very excitingly, we now know we're not supposed to collect anything, right? They have a $0 copay today because it is an annual. So that is the new feature that's laid on top using these different aspects. The ability to enter copays based on the type of procedure, right? That's in there. But the software itself isn't doing anything interesting with it. I need to do something interesting, and I'm doing it based on the appointment type. So when the appointment type is something that I know shouldn't have a copay, like a laboratory or an annual, and I haven't had that configured inside of their policy, I get the $0 one. If I were to set one inside of here instead, for Rachel, let's say over here, I changed it. This is usually where these demos, you always think you're doing great. Let's see. Let's pretend for this time I wasn't expecting to do this, but let's add another copay amount. And let's say there was a preventive exam one, right? Preventive care. Let's pretend, although no insurance would do this, but let's say it had a $7 copay, right? And let's update the policy. Wow. Okay. So congratulations, folks. We did it. What's going to happen now is hopefully when we go back to Rachel inside of her check-in, we're going to see now that she owes that specific amount. Why? Because she's part of an annual wellness today. So here we are inside of her appointment for today. Okay. How do we know it's the appointment? We're just going to click on it right over here, right? Click on this. We see it's an annual wellness here, that the patient has arrived. We're doing our check-in. Scroll to the bottom. What do we see? We see the patient here has the $7 copay. Nice. Time to collect that $7 copay from the patient as part of the check-in before they move along to the room for to start their intake. New feature. Doesn't come with the software. Leverages things that are already there in the software. Does the right thing. Right? Goes ahead, takes two parts of the software that are already intact, that are nice, builds a new feature on top. Easy peasy. Let's look at one that's a little bit more intricate, but very much along the same lines. We're going to look at what if we could, with these appointments, do something different. We want to impact the rest of the visit. Remember I talked about preventive care and wellness? Well, there's a lot associated with the wellness that you're going to want to perform for that patient when they arrive. For example, when you do a wellness, you're going to be doing activities of daily living, questionnaire. You're going to ask them things that are about all things preventive, right? You're going to have, the doctor wants to fill out certain templates that are very specific to that type of visit. You're not supposed to have problem-oriented aspects inside of it, or maybe it's not a wellness anymore. This is a once-a-year preventive item. At the same time, we've got to think about adding these particular procedures onto the claim for that day. We want to make sure that happens. So part of this is already baked in. I'll show you here inside of a little graph I have for you. Here it is. So we have in the software this concept of reasons for visit. And we've got all of this stuff down here that we would like to be associated with this other piece of the software, right? The appointment type, but they're not. There's no connection between these two right now. So when the appointment type is there, we've got visit type specific templates for the provider to fill out, but it's based on the appointment type. We also have certain types of diagnosis and orders that are part of the appointment type, but there is no in the software connection between these two. And also there's the billable procedure codes that are determined by this. See the line that's drawn here? It's beautiful inside of the software, where you can have the diagnosis, or rather the orders, determine the billable procedure codes that then go and populate the claim. But none of this is happening on its own. So what we want to do is build on top of this the new feature. And in the interest of breaking monotony, as this is a more sophisticated one, I'm going to pop on this hat. All right. So now we're ready, right? Now what do we want to do? All we want to do is draw a connection between this and over here. That's it. Not so easy, though. We want to leverage the existing system. And the existing system uses this guy over here. You see this arrow? Over here, we got encounter plans, right? And the encounter plans determines the diagnosis and the orders and the visit type specific templates, and all of this stuff flows from here. So we don't have to build the world. We just have to build the simple process of connecting, in this case, the appointment type to get all of this niceness and make this new feature. We're just going to have to draw a line instead this way, right? We're going to draw a connection between the appointment type and the reason for visit. And by doing this, we're going to get this for free. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show that to you briefly inside of the code. It's not terribly exciting. The part that is a little bit more than anyone would have the patience to look at probably right now. So we're not going to do that. Here's a simple map here. This map like the other one we saw in JavaScript, is a bunch of pairs, right? And in this case, it's a mapping between the appointment type and the reason for visit that's going to determine what we want. In this example, we're talking about annual wellness visit as a reason for visit and the appointment type. So if I show that to you back here, let's check that out. Here we are looking at our wonderful appointment types, and we have our annual wellness. There's that 101. We're going to draw it together and add that reason for visit. So let's do that with our patient who's checking in today, whose name is Rachel Tess. Remember her? Here she is again. Remember, she's got the $7 copay. All right, we're done with the check-in. So let's be done with the check-in. Okay, it's not allowing us. And can we skip ahead? Let's see if we can skip into the intake. Start it. So we're going to add that reason for visit as part of our user script. In so doing, it's going to give us all this stuff for free based on what? This, the appointment type. So go into the appointment type. Dynamically, we're going to add the right reason for visit here. This is not me typing. I did not type anything. This is just done for you. So by adding the reason for visit, we want to get all this other stuff for free. I will show you what is part of the software, which is cool, which is this, again, the encounter plan I showed you. So here's the encounter plan, right? Determines this stuff. Already baked in. We just want to build a new feature on top of that. Here's the wellness visit one. Look at all this stuff we're adding. We're going to add the reason for visit. Based on that, we're going to get all this stuff for free, which we want to add. So we have adult advanced care planning, wellness visit, care instructions, patient education materials. We want to add that for free. And we want to add a history of present illness template for the medical annual wellness. And we want to add these questionnaires that are part of the wellness as well, to make sure that their activities of daily living are met. You know, am I able to get around this year comfortably? Do I need help putting on my clothes? Do I touch this furniture as a safety measure when I'm walking so I don't lose my balance? We want all this stuff in there. So when we're looking at this newly changed version, we hope to see this. So over here inside of the area where we have screenings, look what's here now. Woo! We've got activities of daily living for them to answer, and we didn't have to do anything. New feature on top of old feature, right? Let's see what else is going on here. Let's go over to the exam itself and see what happens there that the doctor sees. We want to see some of these templates in action. Here we are. Annual wellness. The doctor's here. History of present illness. I hope it's here. Let's check it out and see if it is. We want to see, here it is, medical annual wellness template. Things that the doctor should be asking them directly, right? Review of systems. Annual wellness visit template to fill out, right? The wellness visit, just a little detail here, assessment and plan. This is where all of your orders come from. Look at all this nice stuff we're adding for the patient for free. And we're going to be able to publish these to the portal for them. Advanced care planning info, learning how to eat well, learning to exercise for health, preventing falls. We've got 2 orders here to do tests, visual acuity test, classic inside of a wellness exam, hearing test. You know, this is when you call it, and many people used to call the wellnesses, they're somewhat different, but used to call it your checkup, your annual checkup. Let's check their eyes. Maybe they should go to the eye doctor and they don't know it. So look at this eye chart over here and read me the 3rd line, read me the 4th line, and then I'm going to ding and put this up to your ear. And do you hear it? How much do you hear it? Okay, maybe I need now to send you to get your hearing tested, ear, nose, and throat doctor. Ophthalmology, preventive visit. Now possible with a little new feature laid nicely right on top. So that's the example there. The last example I'm going to show you guys is going to be a new feature that's kind of like the first one, a little whimsical, a little fun, but very, very helpful, like I hope you see that most of these new features are. Again, not everyone wants these features. And there's nothing like them in the software that we're using right now as an example for you. But we want to build something new right on top that's going to complement, right? It's going to make things better. It's going to add a new bit of functionality that's not there, that's almost inspired by what's already there, right? So in this case, we're going to look at patients' appointments coming up. Here's the scenario. Telemedicine, very, very new concept, right? Well, not so new, but a few years ago with the pandemic, it became important to start offering these. We partnered up with Google at this practice and wanted to offer Google Meet. Another nice feature that's inside of systems is usually a nice calendar invite. Integrate an appointment into a calendar invite that can be slurped in to a patient's, say, cell phone mail tool, mail app, or maybe it's Outlook or something like that, if that even still exists on in your Windows environment, Windows Mail, whatever it is. And we want to add that, right? But that's not part of this right now. So let's add it as a new feature. So who do we have here? Well, lo and behold, we have another one of these exciting charts. Let's check it out. So here's our chart. We've got appointments here. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to put together a few different items. The existing display of the upcoming appointments. And also in the software, the existing patient's email address and the patient's name. And we're going to try to put it together into create a meet event button, create a calendar event for this particular appointment button. So how are we going to do that? Well, if we look at the existing software as it now is, and we see here we have Rachel coming up. She's got an upcoming appointment. Scroll into her quick view. Here's her upcoming appointment. The inspiration is this. Well, I know the patient's name, and I also know the patient's email address. Oh, wait, this patient doesn't have an email address, but Tina does, right? Tina's got one. So I think for Rachel, we couldn't possibly create a calendar invite because she has no email configured. But for Tina, we can. And Tina's also got an appointment coming up. So it'd be nice if we gave the staff members who use this the opportunity with a new feature, right, to add a very, very quick manner, a calendar event that has specific instructions in the description. For example, if I start using Google Meet for the first time as a patient and I'm going to connect to the office to it, I need to know how to use it, right? And that's not so easy. So wouldn't it be great if inside the description we have all of this nice info about how to use it? Maybe a link to some videos that show you how do I install it? How do I use it? How do I navigate for the first time? What if I'm using my cell phone with Google Meet? Or what if I'm using my desktop browser for Google Meet? How do I do it? So what we want to do is put all of this stuff into the actual description of the event. So that's what we have inside. I'm going to show you something right here real quick. This is the appointment section that we just talked about. Here's a little bit of code. Not going to scare you with too much. But here's some nice instructions in the event it is a telemedicine visit. And I want to show them a video on how to use Google Meet and how to enable it, turn on the mic, turn on the camera, permissions, very important for the first time. The staff shouldn't have to go through that whole process. It's very difficult sometimes to have to explain this to every person, but it'd be nice if it were in the invite, right? So anyway, enough of that, but you get the point. So let's go back and check out our same patient, but this time with the user script and the, what is it called? New feature. The new feature has been added, right? So where the devil is that? All right, we've got two patients here. We got Tina, who doesn't have an email, right? Here's Tina. Oh, it's Rachel. Rachel, nice lady, no email. So in her case, if we scroll down to the bottom where we have our list of appointments, we couldn't offer her this, right? So it's just going to tell the person who's manning the phone, here's our nice little calendar icon. This is a button. I can click on this and start a Google calendar invite, but I can't because the email's missing. So give the people some feedback so they know whether or not it works. But let's look at Tina. Remember Tina? Tina's got this wonderful Bob at nextdoorguy.net. Good to go, right? Tina's got an email and Tina's got an appointment. So when we add this new feature, this button here, we want it to do a calendar invite. So what are we doing exactly? We're easily adding a meet event per appointment. We've got this stuff right here that's inside of the software already, but we've got this other stuff we'd like to do. We want to add a create a meet event button right in there, right? And we want to maybe send it over to this display of the upcoming appointments for each one. Wouldn't that be nice? But to do that, we're going to have to use the Google API. So our create a meetup button is going to read the email address and the name out of the quick view or some metadata that's on that page. And it's also going to leverage this, the display of the upcoming appointments, and put one of those buttons. And when that button is made, it has to have it has to be a link. And the link, that's part of the API, which is right over here, to add Google Calendar events. And what it's going to do is going to add a bunch of other fields. And show that to you here. Don't want to bore you too much. But we create a new URL here and add some parameters. The text of the appointment. The location of the appointment. Here it is with the address. The details of the appointment. This is the instructions that we talked about, needing to pass to the telemedicine patient who's doing it for the first time. The dates. And who else at the practice we want to add to the same appointment. You know? We want to go ahead and we want to automate all this through the new in the creation of the new feature. So here we are with our good old patient Tina test. So you may recall where we just left off. Here's the new appointment. We're going to click on this, and do you see what's here on the bottom? It's kind of small to see, but it's a tremendously long URL with all of those arguments that we just kind of looked at, those parameters that we added in to the URL. And when we click on this, Google's going to do the rest. It's going to pop open a new tab up here, and it's going to have that new calendar event, and we can send it right off to this person, and they'll be able to join the Google Meet that's already a part of it. So here we go. Ready? New feature. Boom. Grabs the name. Tina test. Grabs the type of visit. Telemedicine visit. Grabs the email address of that patient. Grabs the time of that appointment. Right? Grabs the name of the person at the practice who should also become a part of this meet. Grabs the instructions for how to join a telemedicine and adds it here. People, new feature. It's so simple, but yet it's doing so much with what was already there. But it's giving you that nice, grim, cool look right on top, right? Not everyone wants it. Not everyone needs it. But this practice needed it. And you could see how it's helpful, all of these things we talked about. Something as silly as adding a birthday. Suddenly you've got a nice relationship with your patients. Something as simple as a copay. And wanting somehow to bridge the concept of appointment type with the copay. Very simple, very obvious. But it wasn't done. New feature. The whole notion of wanting to add the encounter plan with all of its richness. We've got so many aspects. Is that still open? I could show you more. I don't know if I kept it open. Rachel, where are you, Rachel? Here you are. Look at this. We want to be able to add all the richness of what needs to be entered manually. Do it automatically. So in annual wellness, even the billing tab is being filled out now. Look at all this. Do you see all this? This doesn't happen in the software itself. That's why. New feature. Hello. Okay. Here it is. We're adding a welcome to Medicare visit. We're adding possible if it's an initial preventive exam. There could be an EKG. We're doing the functional status assessment here. We're adding in questionnaires so we can report these. We're adding in the actual visual acuity test. We're adding in, look at this, the diagnosis of the classic diagnosis. There's like two for a wellness. You're either encounter for a general adult medical exam without abnormal findings or with abnormal findings. I've already kind of set that up here through the new feature, which did all of this stuff very, very easily. So adding this, we got all this. Building a new feature from different components that already exist here. So keep this in mind of the power that rests inside of your fingertips, right? And think creatively. And don't give up when there's something that you do on a regular basis doesn't quite give you what you need. Build something new right on top. There's no need to build, reinvent the wheel, as they used to always say. They probably still say it. This is a sphere, the three-dimensional rendering of a wheel. If we expanded it. But anyhow, stay cool. Do something nice with the user script. Build new features into an existing web application that does not offer you those beautiful pieces of new functionality, but have given you the inspiration through what is already there to add to it. And you have to have faith in yourself, and you have to have slightly less faith in the software creators who, with all due respect, they don't see necessarily a need for this, or maybe they weren't thinking creatively enough, and it's going to take years for them to get on board something this smart. Or maybe it's just not so smart, except to your practice. So anyway, think about it. Do it. Start utilizing user scripts to build things that you want. New functions. New features. I hope you had a good time today looking at some code, looking at some exciting diagrams with arrows, looking at my bald head, looking at the fact that I need a good hat, right? Remember that. Protect your head, right? Soak up the sweat. I like to play tennis. This ain't going to do it anymore. New feature. Done, right? Can't see well anymore, right? Eyes are kind of not the same when I was 3. Could see well then. I could see across the room. New feature, please. There we go. The best. This is arguably the best view of me in all these videos. I'm sure you agree, right? New feature on top of the old one, folks. There's no better way to do well than to stay thinking creatively and don't be held back when other people won't get you to where you want to go. Right? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation today, and I hope you stay inspired, and I hope you try your best to do something new and fun and helpful. That's the best thing about doing these. It's not fun because you're kind of, improvising. It's fun because you're actually inspiring and hopefully helping somebody, right? All of these things in here, these features are really making a difference. So you can do that. Don't be held back. Um, um, find the time, find the priorities that matter the most, and go with them. Yield to them, and build something great, even if others won't do it for you. That's it for today, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye.